What to do, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Reactions. I'm your host, Hurricane Mike, and today we headed back to the practice field. As you can see on the screen, we got Darren and Mizza in the office getting ready for the 2026 season. Let's get into this clip, and then I'll be back with my commentary. Let's do it. Baby G. Man, it's why I was loaded. So much talent, so many playmakers. Freshman Wingo. So many options.
Hey, you moving so fast,
South Carolina transfer. Joshua Moore, who I expect to have big things happen for him this year. Of course, the incoming freshman Paris. I dropped a video about a month ago. And the video basically stating that it's a chance that people got could be receiver. I can actually see that happen, and definitely no shade to Malachi Tony, but it's the attention that Malachi Tony is going to receive. He's just the type of player that people are fit can be in this Miami offense. There's a great chance that people are the leading receiver this year.
Get burnt, go burnt. No way to move. No way. Move. Okay, hold your line, hold your line. Just don't be so.
He's clutching the ball right now.
Run down. Hold your line. Just hold your shirt.
Getting the timing down.
Run down. Get down. Stay down. All right, run down. Hold your line. Hold your
As you can see, Joshua Moore I expect huge plays from Joshua Moore this year. A lot of one-on-one coverage on the backside, a lot of attention to Tony, a lot of attention for Marquette. So, man, that third wide receiver is wide open. You know, it's going to be a battle between, I would say Jacobs, Vaughn, and Moore are going to be battling for that third position. And it's going to be interesting to see. I believe all five guys are going to just give us so much. And then we got the freshman Dan Stafford, just seeing to Ravens Wingo. We have the freshman Perry. We just so much talent. Just men are just in the training store, wherever which way he want to go. It is going to be interesting how Miami works Malachi Tony. Of course, he's a superb slot receiver, but I expect to see him line up on the outside this year a little bit more. The split those matchup also. They're gonna move Malachi all over the place. You better believe that. If you think the way they used it last year, the way to this year, they're gonna have him lined up so many different places, and they have the luxury to do that. When you have a wide receiver room like they have, you can afford to put Malachi in the backfield. You can afford to do different things with Malachi because they just have so much depth. Letting Luke get some passes in, and that's definitely going to be another interesting thing. Who's going to be the backup quarterback? We have an incoming freshman, 4 or 5 star freshman out of Orlando, but we're definitely going to see who's battling for that backup quarterback position. Good catch. Freshman Brian Stephen, who I expect to have an impact next year with a loaded wide receiver room. It's kind of hard to see Dan coming in his first year making an impact, but definitely next year. He's definitely going to be a guy that's going to be big for the Hurricanes in the future. Another freshman Harris, who I expect to be big for us in the future. So you already see Miami's loading up down the road, but at the end of the day, that's whoever pulls rides home. That man right there.
First up field.
I expect big things for this this year. A lot of touchdowns, explosive plays, and then he got the complementary wide receivers behind him. Okay, we're going to stop it right there, man. Tell me what you think of the video. Well, to the next time, Dynasty Reaction Network. And make sure you leave all comments below. Also, subscribe, and share this video so this channel could grow. And remember, it's always about the you.
Level. I thought Miami was everything that is wrong with, at the time, modern sports. I was raised to believe this, Jesse. I was raised to believe this. I was raised to believe that college football and sports were supposed to look a certain way, pretty much the way I look in the mirror. And I was taught that college football was supposed to be presented a certain way. It was supposed to be played a certain way. And then Miami started playing in a way that was totally antithetical to all that.
What it do, my good people? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Reactions, where we talk everything Miami Hurricanes, Los Angeles Lakers, and San Francisco 49ers. And today, we're talking the Miami Hurricanes. Yeah, the hate is real. And we got an interesting video from Josh Pate's college football show breaking down the hate for Miami in the 90s. So let's get into this video, and I'll be back with my commentary.
Jake in beautiful Weston, Florida, his words and mine, he said, I'm a 24-year-old Canes fan, and I want to know from your perspective how you personally felt about Miami in the early 2000s. Was the hate really that crazy? I despised Miami. At a cellular level, I thought Miami was everything that is wrong with, at the time, modern sports. I was raised to believe this, Jesse. I was raised to believe this. I was raised to believe that college football and sports were supposed to look a certain way, pretty much the way I look in the mirror. And I was taught that college football was supposed to be presented a certain way. It was supposed to be played a certain way. And then Miami started playing in a way that was totally antithetical to all that. And it wasn't right. I'll go a step further. It was wrong. Miami played the wrong way. I was not alone. A vast swath of the country felt this way. Now, Miami today is not universally adored, but the relative hatred that is felt about Miami today pales with all caps, P-A-L-E-S, pales in comparison to what people felt in the 90s and early 2000s. So you're 24 years old. So that has you born right around the time Larry Coker's winning their national championship, their last national championship, as it turns out. And that's, sort of the tail end of that run. And they weren't done. Like, they still had some good years. But, man, I am a kid growing up in the deep South. Miami is not the South, but Miami is further south than the South. Miami's not the South. Miami is its own portion of the country.
Right.
And the way they played was different unto any other place in the country. And it had like worldview implications. And that is what I remember as a kid. I remember the way that I was taught college football is supposed to look and the way I was taught it was supposed to be played. And here was the fact of the matter. The fact of the matter is when Miami started doing what they were doing, not only were they doing it in a way that really, really flew up people's backside sideways, as Meemaw would say, they were winning.
I just want to stop it real quick and just let everybody look at the screen, man. Just look at the names that came through this program. You got Ken Dorsey, Ezra James, Clinton Porter, Willis McGay, Frank Gore, Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne, Santana Moss, Jeremy Shockey, Kellen Winslow, Brian McKinney, Vernon Carey. I mean, you got guys on that list, all pros, Hall of Famers. So, man, it was a hell of a run in the 90s and the 2000s for the Canes. Plus, if you add in the 80s, Miami really did their things for at least a 25, 30-year stretch.
While they were doing it. It wasn't that they were playing that way but still losing. They were dominating folks doing that. And once you see that, there's this slippery slope. There's this snowball effect that, oh, man, like everything we believed was wrong. Wait a second. I'm told that that's not supposed to work. If you play like that, you're going to suffer the consequences of losing. Well, they played like that and everyone else suffered the consequences. And it was a tough time. It was a tough pill to swallow. Hey, quick time out here. Are you subscribed to the channel?
Okay, we're going to stop it right there. You can head over to the Josh Page College Football Show if you want to watch the rest of the clip. And quickly before we get out here, I'm going to show you how much hate there was for Miami. Check this out. Unpreceded taunting and the Miami rule. Miami players actually went out their way to intimidate, humiliate their opponents. This behavior peaked during the 1991 Cotton Bowl against the Texas Longhorns. The Hurricanes blew out Texas 46-3, but racked up a bowl record 15 penalties for 202 yards. Just imagine that, beating somebody by 43 points and you had over 200 yards of penalties, mostly for flagrant taunting, dancing, trash talking. This place was so polarizing that it directly prompted the NCAA to implement stricter excessive celebration penalties, widely known as the Miami rule. And man, what a time to be alive. Those teams, man, were so dominant. And I know you've seen from 2001 to 2003, man, they were vicious, man. And like they had a boatload of talent, NFL talent, guys that we see lace it up every Sunday. I think Miami had a record for guys scoring a touchdown. How many guys scored a touchdown every Sunday in the NFL? And man, you just had to be there to see it, man. I was able to go down to the Orange Bowl myself and catch a couple of games. That team was awesome. And they all put it together against Nebraska, and they looked at like another human, another team out there. And, they tried to back it up the next year against Ohio State, and they came up a little bit short. Of course, the controversial call. But, man, that stretch from 2000 to 2003, yeah, those guys really set college football afire. And it was already set up for them, for what the guys did in the 80s and the 90s. When Larry Coker came in, really the team was built by Butch Davis, but Larry Coker took over the Ferrari and brought home a national championship. So This is a great perspective how not just Josh Pate, but how a lot of people felt about the way Miami handled business each and every Saturday. Not only they went out there and kicked your ass, they told you about it. Well, that's just my opinion. Well, to the next time, Dynasty Reactions Network. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and pretty please leave all comments below. You already know.
Comes in for some big high leverage downs, or is Damon Wilson going to be somebody who can dominate on every down? Because with Ruben Bain, Anakeem Messidor, and others gone from that group, and there is a lot of room for you to be able to step in and hit the ground running. Now, the good news for Miami is I do think that behind him there is enough talent. I think they've developed and recruited the defensive line well enough that they can still accomplish a lot of their goals. But when we talk about Miami taking the next
What to do, my good people? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Reactions, where we talk everything Hurricane football. And today, we're talking defense. Yeah, the Hurricanes got a little bit of holes to fill, losing those two great pass rushers. I got a clip from CBS Sports breaking down the Hurricane defense for 2026. We're going to watch this clip, and then I'll be back with my commentary. Let's get into it.
It obviously comes to mind here for me, David, but what other questions does the defense need to address for you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with linebacker. And, you know, the reason why I say that is Miami has two guys that are veterans, right? You have an 8-year linebacker in Motore, 8-year again. And then you have a 6-year guy in Chase Smith, who's kind of getting the opportunity to go from rotational player to starter. Now, the reason why I think those guys are worth highlighting is Motore is in his 8th year because he's had a history of injuries at the college level, and he's never played back-to-back full seasons in recent years. So staying healthy, being durable is a question for Motore. I think if he's on the field, he's a fine middle linebacker. Chase Smith, he's also had injury concerns during his career as the weak side linebacker. But and he's also never played in a starter role. But if he's healthy, he showed signs in the springs that he's ready to take that next step forward as well at linebacker. So I'm going with the linebacker position as one to watch on defense.
I'm going to step up to Damon Wilson, a name we just saw right there at the edge rushing position. My question is he a luxury or a leader? Is he somebody who just comes in for some big high leverage downs? Or is Damon Wilson going to be somebody who can dominate on every down? Because with Ruben Bain, Anakeem Messidor, and others gone from that group, and there is a lot of room for you to be able to step in and hit the ground running. Now, the good news for Miami is I do think that behind him there is enough talent. I think they've developed and recruited the defensive line well enough that they can still accomplish a lot of their goals. But when we talk about Miami taking the next step, talking about winning that national championship, Damon Wilson, who had a good season at Missouri last year, started his career at Georgia. The talent is there. Just playing on this very talented, very solid defense unlock his next step, because that could really help take this defense over the top.
And that's truly what they want, is to take this team over the top. Last year made it all the way to the national championship, a heartbreaking loss, of course, to Indiana. So, Chip, as we mentioned, that schedule begins.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there, man. Quickly, man, I'm going to show you what Miami must replace during the 2025. The duo Capon, and we talking Bain and Messidor, for over 100 quarterback pressures and finished second nationally among all defensive end pairs. Ruben Bain Jr., 2025, reported 54 tackles, 15 and a half tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, and 1 interception, and generated 67 total pressures. Bain was also a consensus All-American, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and won the Ted Hendricks Award as the top nation defensive end. Anakeem Messidor logged 46 tackles, 17 and a half tackles for loss, 12 and a half sacks, leading the ACC, and 4 forced fumbles. He rushes 55 total pressures and was named a second-team All-American, as he should. And that's going to be the key. Can Miami replace those two guys? And I think they have the talent. And one person in particular, and that would be Marquise Lightfoot. I think this kid can be a terror. I know they brought in Damon Wilson, but I'm looking for Marquise Lightfoot to be that pass rusher, that guy that offenses have to prepare for each and every week. You look at his body. He has a wide receiver slim body. He has a motor of a wide receiver. And this guy can just put on a tad little bit more weight. I think Marquise Lightfoot could be every much more effective than Ruben Bain Jr. and Akeem Messador. And now you bring over this kid, Damon Wilson, and put him on a pair. And I think Moulton could be the best defensive tackle in the nation. Him and Justin Scott could be one of the best defensive tackle tandem in the nation. I think those two guys up the middle is going to make the teams very tough to run on us. So while I don't think they have the names just yet, I think by the end of the year, everybody's going to be talking about this kid, Marquise Lightfoot, and Justin Moulton, and I can't think of the other kid name, and Scott. Moulton and Scott on the inside are going to be dominant. I think so. I think our defense is going to be okay. I think this year is going to be more offensive team. I think we're going to be led more by our offense, but best to believe this defense is going to be flying around. Corey Levin, we're going to have these guys making plays out here. So I definitely look for our defense to be effective and be a stable catalyst for us to win in the national championship. Well, and I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. Well, to the next time, Dynasty Reactions. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and pretty please leave all those comments below. You already know.
We're a team that fully understands that to do what we wanted to and get to where we want to get to, we have to shut our mouths, go to work, and make sure all the...
Yeah! If you from Miami, stand up! Do your part! The you! The you! The you! The you! The you! We run the state!
What it do, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Reactions, where we talk everything Miami Hurricanes football. And today, we're talking the wide receiver, not just Malachi Tony, not just Cooper Barquette, but people like Joshua Moore and others. The Miami Hurricane wide receiver room is loaded. I got a little video clip of their recent practice. We're going to watch this clip, then I'll be back with my commentary. Let's get it. Meza just got so many weapons, just so many people to pick from. Baby Jesus. Five-star recruit, being selfish. Playmakers all over the field. Like I say, I want to see who's going to be a difference maker outside of Cooper Barquette and Malachi Tony. Of course, those two guys are going to be the two guys featured in the offense. But I think it's pretty warm, and I think the way Shannon Dawson's going to call his plays, we might see another receiver in a big time result. Shannon Dawson out there pushing the guys up. Offensive coordinator from Miami.
That's it. And the world want to say, more of a hey.
That was a better play there. Of course, Cooper Barquette, due transfer. I believe that's South Carolina transfer. I know they got one kid from South Carolina and one kid from West Virginia. Both of those guys are super explosive. I believe that's the freshman Wingo. KBG. Stafford. Here from California. Of course, the guy. Kevin Beard, Plantation High School, did good things, did great things for the University of Miami. A professional. Definitely got the guys going on coaching them up right now. I like to see that, man. I definitely like to see Miami definitely coaching things up. The coaches are ahead on. You see Shannon Dawson, Kevin Beard out there giving instructions. So you definitely in good hands with this coaching staff. And the crowd goes wild. They was waiting for that all day. Okay, we're going to stop it right there. And I kind of asked Google, what is some of the depth that the Hurricanes room offer? Because we all know about Baby Jesus and Cooper Barquette, and it says emerging depth. The Hurricanes boost much better depth this year than last. Talented sophomores like Joshua Moore, 6'4", West Broward alone, and Dylan Upshaw are taking major leaps, while key transfers like Cam Vaughn, West Virginia, and Devarius Jacobs, South Carolina, have solidified the rotation system versatility. Because the receiver room is so talented, the coaching staff may rely heavily on 4 receiver formations to maximize their playmakers on the field. Yep, and I believe that's what they should do. When you have that type of talent, man, spread them out and just go right at them. Darian Menza, again, he has a chance to put up humongous number. He probably have a chance to break some records for Miami with that receiving room led by Baby Jesus, Malachi Tony, and Cooper Barquette. There should be no reason why this Miami offense should not be humming. I'm gonna repeat it again. I've been repeating it on all the videos before. This offense should easily 35, 38 to 45 points a game. They schedule sets up perfect, and I like the idea of them going to a 4 wide receiver set to utilize everybody, so nobody feels like they're not participating in the game. Because you have that much talent, you will have 1 or 2 individuals feel like the ball not coming their way, because a lot of those guys who are going to be the 3rd, 4th, and 5th wide receivers, they can go to any other college and start. So they here at Miami, so the ball is definitely going to move around. Of course, they're going to feature Malachi Tony in various situations and get the ball the best way they can get him the ball. But you better believe they're going to use these other wide receivers outside of Malachi, outside of Cooper. And, man, they're going to expose some defenses this year. They got a loaded wide receiver room. They got every weapon for Daniel Menza to possibly win a Heisman Trophy. So I'm glad to see that the Hurricanes have taken seriously this wide receiver position, because it's very important. The wide receiver position is probably one of the most important positions in college football because of the explosive play, the momentum, the explosive play to the college game. So we definitely have it. We have guys that can go deep. We got guys you can just throw it to 3 yards and they can take it 80. So we in good hands when it comes to the pass catching for the University of Miami. And we should be rocking and rolling with this wide receiver room. Well, to the next time, Dynasty Reaction Network. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and pretty please leave all comments below. And never forget, it's always about the you.
'22, when we first recruited those guys, we didn't say much because we weren't winning many games. And I think now that we are getting better and progressing, it's probably time to say less, not time to predict prognostications and all that stuff. We just would like to keep our mouths shut and go outside and work and get better and represent our program to the best of our abilities.
What to do, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Reactions, where we talk all things Miami Hurricanes football. And today we're talking ACC Conference and Miami National Championship hopes. I got a little clip from ESPN. They're going to break down what they think of Miami. And of course, I'll be back with my commentary. Let's get it.
Could be better that played for a national championship. Think about that. It's only like one step to go up that ladder, right? So we have to kind of take into account. Here's why I like them a lot. I mean, last year they were the last team in. They were the 10 seed. They got hot in the playoff, and everyone remembers the performance that we saw in the final 3 or 4 games against A&M, Ohio State, Ole Miss, and then, of course, Indiana. This year they're not sneaking in. I mean, Vegas thinks they're winning 10.5. You look at the portal class. You look at Malachi Toney, superstar freshman wide receiver, had 109 catches last year. The schedule also sets up for him pretty well. They do have to go to Notre Dame. That's really the only ranked team they might see before the playoffs. So can this team be better? Yes, because I think the ACC behind them has maybe collectively taken a step back. And I think they have a chance to be more explosive, Heather, offensively, which might lead to more wins as well.
Heather, what do you make of it? Could this team be even better than they were a year ago?
Well, they should want to be better than they were a year ago because they lost to SMU and Louisville. And if they're going to take the next step, they've got to win those types of close games. And they're not going to play SMU during the regular season, but they might see them in the ACC championship game. And guys, Kevin Jennings is pretty darn good. And his numbers right now are better than Fernando Mendoza's were at this time. Nobody was talking about him either. I want to go back to the schedule for a minute because I think that game at Clemson is going to be trickier than most people are giving it credit for. If that team's not better, I'll be shocked. And then, yes, at Notre Dame, everyone has that schedule circled on the schedule. I went to South Bend. They are calling it a revenge tour this season. I've got Notre Dame winning that game. So, Miami's got to get better in the trenches after losing NFL-sized talent up there. But I agree with Greg. That offense is going to be so fun and so spectacular to watch.
I think of Miami last year was really a team that was built in the trenches, though. And you had Spence on defense. And, of course, you had Ruben Bain. And then you had the big tackle who's now with the Giants. Now, I look to you, Harry Douglas. We talk about Toney and all the skill positions, and we're going to get to the quarterback. Can you replace the talent they lost in the trenches?
That's the big question right now. And when you look at Akeem Messidor and what he meant defensively, and also Ruben Bain Jr., those guys not only sacked the quarterback, they played the run very, very well. So can that new wave of guys that are coming in for the Miami Hurricanes, can they consistently, under Corey Heatherman as a defense coordinator, can those guys be, every down player? Not just going to sack the quarterback. And then when you look offensively, it was Markel Bell that they lost, who was a big offensive tackle. It was Francis Mauigoa, like you mentioned, who's now with the New York Giants. But what I love about Mario Cristobal at any team that he is coaching, he played an offensive line position, right? So the trenches is his baby. That's one thing that I feel like they're going to get right. But those 2 games on the road, like Heather mentioned, at Clemson and at Notre Dame, those games are very, very tricky. And like Heather mentioned also, I think Louisville and I think SMU have an opportunity to win the ACC, and those are the two teams that actually beat Miami in the regular season a year ago.
Greg, you're our resident quarterback here. Carson Beck out there last year, had a dream season, took him the distance. This year, it's Darian Mensah, the transfer portal student from Duke. What do we make of him, and is that potentially an upgrade from Carson Beck, who had an outstanding year last year?
Well, first of all, Pete, I think Beck's really underrated. But in some areas, Mensah is absolutely an upgrade, especially on some of the downfield throws and throws into tight windows. If you just look at how he's graded out over the course of his career, throws on 20-plus yards, Mensah's up in the top category in college football. You look at 19 touchdowns against 2 picks. Beck is back, in kind of the 20s, 25 range. On the intermediate stuff, 10 to 19 yards. Mensah's in the top 10. Beck's in the top in kind of the low teens. So a pretty significant jump up. And the thing that makes it even more remarkable is Mensah did it with protection that was spotty at times. At Duke, look, his pocket wasn't clean very often, whereas Beck could sit back there all day behind Francis Mauigoa, the New York Giant, and be completely fine. So look, Beck was great, led the ACC in passer rating and completion percentage, but that was partly because he was a bit of a dink and dunk guy, getting it out fast and getting it out close to the line of scrimmage. Mensah's a little bit more aggressive, which could open up this offense and actually make them more dangerous down the field when you marry it up with the run game led by Mark Fletcher, the outstanding running back.
Get the arrow pointing back. Okay, we're going to stop it right there, man. And a great video by ESPN. And I want to talk about 2 things they kept mentioning in the video. First, the offensive line. I said in the previous video, I am not worrying about the offensive line. I think we got the best tandem coaching when it comes to offensive line, and Mario Cristobal and Alex Ball. I think those guys going to have those guys humming. It might be some growing pains, but again, when you start off with Stanford, when you got Florida A&M and Central Michigan and Wake Forest in your first 4 games, there should be no reason why they have any hiccups by the time Clemson and Notre Dame come around. The second thing I want to talk about is the schedule, is that Clemson and that Notre Dame. That will be Miami's most tricky games this year. That game at Clemson, while Miami will be a favorite, they will have more talent on the field. You already know in Death Valley, Clemson going to be ready to ball out. So I expect that game to be a close game, a tight game. But, of course, I expect you to come out with the victory. Same as the Notre Dame game. I think that game is going to be a close ball game. It's going to be in cold weather. I think Notre Dame going to come out firing all cylinders. But, of course, the Canes going to answer the bell. So the 2 big question marks that needs to be answered will be the offensive line and those 2 road games. And don't forget, if by perhaps we make it to the ACC championship, most likely we're going to meet Kevin Jennings and the SMU Mustangs. Kevin Jennings most likely going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate, explosive athlete, great arm, great legs. So while I like my Miami Hurricanes to make it to the ACC championship and the national championship, there will be a lot of hurdles to get there. Being a champion is not easy. So Miami experience should help them through a lot of situations this year. But even though the schedule is sets up perfectly, those 2 games at Clemson and at Notre Dame kind of worries me, but you should handle it. That's just my opinion. Well, to the next time, Dynasty Network. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and pretty please leave all comments below. You already know. And always remember, it's always about the you.
Growing pains with Jackson Cantwell, who's former 5-star recruit, but he's definitely going to have to learn on the job. Right tackle Matthew McCoy is making the transition from left guard, so there's going to be a learning curve there. One thing I think that is a positive for allowing this Miami offensive line to gel and settle in early in the season is the first month is pretty favorable. They start the year with a road trip to Stanford, so not necessarily an ACC killer type of team. They also go on the road at Wake Forest.
What to do, my good people? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Reactions, where we talk everything Miami Hurricanes. And today we're talking offensive line play, one of the strongest part of our run last year. And today we got a video breaking down the expectation of this year offensive line. We're going to watch this video, and then I'm going to come back and give my commentary. Let's get into it.
To some questions on offense. You're curious if there's going to be that consistency, where the chemistry comes from, all of those things that need to be built in this portion of the season. What questions do you need answered, Chip, this summer from this offense in Miami?
The offensive line was an edge. It was plus value. You get in the college football playoff last season and against Texas A&M, Ohio State, I mean, elite defensive fronts, they were just getting pushed around. It was part of the identity of that run to the national championship game, and now it's missing a lot of talent and a lot of depth. There's a couple different things going on with the offensive line that all package together into general offensive line questions for me. You know, Jackson Cantwell coming in as a true freshman. I read David Lake, so I know that he at least begins to look the part. That's encouraging. But there's also a lot of veteran players, you know, like Okunlola, like McCoy, like there's Rodriguez. There's players that have been around, and you really do need them to take a step forward in their own personal development. If they all do it together, then Miami maintains the kind of edge that they have up front and had last season. You know, if they just have a ho-hum and kind of are who they are, well, then maybe it won't be as dominant, and Darian Mensah will need to do more. So that's my big question with all the skill positions and quarterback stocked. What is that going to look like up front, and can they still have that edge?
No doubt. Chip nailed it. You know, Miami has to replace 4 starters from last year's offensive line, 3 of which were just drafted in the 2026 NFL draft. As Chip noted, Miami's going to start a true freshman at left tackle. So there's going to be some growing pains with Jackson Cantwell, who's former 5-star recruit, but he's definitely going to have to learn on the job. Right tackle Matthew McCoy is making the transition from left guard. So there's going to be a learning curve there. One thing I think that is a positive for allowing this Miami offensive line to gel and settle in early in the season is the first month is pretty favorable. They start the year with a road trip to Stanford, so not necessarily an ACC killer type of team. They also go on the road at Wake Forest. So they're going to get some nice Power 4 work, but not the most intense type of competition like last year when Miami had to open the year against Notre Dame. If that was the case for this offensive line, I would definitely have my concerns with this offensive line being able to win that type of game.
Feels like naturally, too, there's questions on the defensive line when you look at the absence that they were missing.
Okay, we're going to stop it right there. And quickly before we get out of here, I usually have something up on the screen, but I don't this time, and I apologize for that. But if there's one group of the Miami offensive line, of the Miami team that I'm not worried about, is the offensive line, and that's because Mario Cristobal was an offensive line, and that's his specialty. I think he's going to have this offensive line flying high. They have a bunch of 5-star recruits, so it's not like they are replacing the guys from last year with nobodies. This kid, Jackson Caldwell, one of the biggest recruits in Miami football history. I think he's going to come in, plug in. Like they say, he might have his struggles a little bit, but their schedule is kind of soft the first 4 weeks. So I think they're going to be able to gel together and find the right chemistry. So Darian Mensah and his offense can just fly high, and Malachi and Tony and those guys can go out and make plays. I just don't see the Miami offensive line struggling. They have too many big bodies. The one thing Mario Cristobal has done, he has recruited beautifully. He has got creatures of I don't know where Mario Cristobal gets some of these guys. He got straight creatures coming off the bus. So if there's one group I'm not worried about, it is definitely offensive line. I think Mario Cristobal is going to have this offensive line fine off on all pistons. He has a good 4-week stretch where they really don't get tested. And by the time they get in ACC play, this line just going to be taking off. And Mark Fletcher and Darian Mensah are just going to be doing big things. But that's just my opinion. Well, to the next time, Dynasty reactions. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and pretty please leave all comments below. You already know.
Let's go ahead and just switch the camera here. Are we good?
I love that.
Here we go.
Gosh.
This is going to ruffle some feathers. I know a lot of Miami fans out there are really, really excited about this, but in my opinion here, Darian Mensah, I'm just not sold on him yet. I'm not sold on Darian Mensah, and here's why. he was phenomenal at Duke. You know, you play really well against Elon, and you play really well against, you know, these mid-tier ACC teams. And, you know, credit to him, his numbers are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And, you know, he played well in the ACC championship, beat Virginia.
Yep.
Great season. But my thing is, when you have a quarterback like Carson Beck, who was, you know, veteran guy, played at Georgia, played against these SEC teams, Big Ten teams, knows what to expect. Darian Mensah hasn't really gone through that. You know, he hasn't really played. He played Illinois, and got blown out by Illinois.
What to do, my good people? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Reaction Network, where we talk all things Miami Hurricane football. And today, once again, we're talking Darian Mensah. It seems like Zach Herbstreit, the son of Kurt, believes Darian is not him. But after watching a little bit of scrimmage of the University of Miami, he's came to his senses and he says, Darian, I owe you an apology. I have a little clip of his show on 3 where he sits down and explains himself why he didn't believe Darian was the man. And now after watching some video clips, oh yeah, he believes Darian Mensah will lead the Miami Hurricanes to greatness. Let's get into this video clip.
Another episode of Off Script. My name is Zach Herbstreit. And Miami fans, I'll admit it, I was wrong about Darian Mensah. But before we get into it today, if you enjoy college football, if you enjoy the channel, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel as well. It really helps me out a lot, so I appreciate you guys. Well, let's get into it today. For context out there, for people already knowing what I was wrong about, so congratulations if you already know, but for Miami fans that are just now watching this video, for context, I went on JD Pikel's show. Shout out JD in the Heart Count. And we basically were just given hot takes, bold takes on this upcoming 2026 college football season. And one of those bold takes that I had was I just wasn't sold on Darian Mensah. Something about him I just wasn't sold on. And we'll play the clip real quick. Play the clip.
Last take. And let's go ahead and just switch the camera here. Are we good?
I love that.
Here we go.
Gosh.
This is going to ruffle some feathers. I know a lot of Miami fans out there are really, really excited about this, but in my opinion here, Darian Mensah, I'm just not sold on him yet. I'm not sold on Darian Mensah, and here's why. He was phenomenal at Duke. You know, you play really well against Elon, and you play really well against, you know, these mid-tier ACC teams, and, you know, credit to him, his numbers are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And, you know, he played well in the ACC championship, beat Virginia.
Yep. Great
season. But my thing is, when you have a quarterback like Carson Beck, who was, you know, veteran guy, played at Georgia, played against these SEC teams, Big Ten teams, knows what to expect. Darian Mensah hasn't really gone through that. You know, he hasn't really played. He played Illinois, and got blown out by Illinois.
That's true.
But, like, you know, and he still played well. But, you know, it's a team sport.
Yeah,
it's an individual sport. So
not well enough.
I just don't think. I'm not seeing. I just want to see. I want to see him go against these big teams.
Yeah,
Big Ten, SEC. I just don't see him doing well right now. I just need to see a little bit more of him in the Miami offense. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but I'm just saying he's just inexperienced right now. That's all I'm saying.
So quickly before he come back, I really just don't understand how he came to the conclusion that Darian Mensah is not him. Man, this man is at Duke and put up 34 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. So I'm just confused, but let him explain himself.
After watching that clip, not only am I wearing probably the same exact shirt that I was wearing then, but I think just the overall concern is I just didn't know how he would play against higher tier competition, which I felt like was a valid, that's a valid take. And then I watched the spring game highlights, which you go against a competition that was just in the national championship last year, had made an incredible playoff run, smoked A&M, smoked Ohio State, went through Ole Miss too, and then go to Indiana and gave them an incredible game. So that's good enough competition for me. And then I see what Darian Mensah does against this high caliber defense. Just, I know it's spring, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but seeing what he did, I was like, oops, that's on me. Hey, I didn't recognize your game. That's on me. Mensah seemed to be the highlight of the scrimmage. He threw 3 touchdown passes, one to Barkate, who is his former teammate at Duke. So seeing them together on this team, still a nice little tandem there. Plus you have Malachi Toney, all these freaks. in the receiver room, which seems to be an extreme strong suit for this Miami team and only will continue to be throughout the season. So excited for this. But the thing that impressed me about Mensah in this scrimmage was the poise in the pocket. It looked very similar to that Cam Ward-esque poise. It's that comfortability, that calm and collective. That's what I saw when I was watching these highlights. I'm like, that really looks like Cam Ward, does it not? But he just really looked comfortable to me. He was making the right decisions. He never like frantically threw the ball. He never was, getting like anxious or worried in the pocket. He looked very calm and was just making the right decisions. He was throwing the check down when 1, 2, or 3 wasn't there. He just, all right, hey, I got my guy in the flat. Let's just hit him. So making plays, and that just comes with, it's just a veteran guy. He has reps under his belt. He knows where to go with the ball, learning the offense better and better, developing as a quarterback. It's great to see. But a big thing for
Okay, we're going to stop it right there, man. Great video about Zach Herbstreit, and you can go over to the OWN Network. And them guys over there doing great work. Of course, JD, the low-key Miami Hurricane fan. But, hey, I definitely feel totally different than Zach Herbstreit. The minute that Miami signed Darian Mensah, I was a true believer. Just watching this guy last year at Duke, like I said, he put up great numbers last year. And then to bring his number one target, Cooper Burkett, over, I expect nothing but big things. Like I said, I keep saying it. I've been saying it in all the videos before. I expect this guy to complete the trifecta. That's first-round draft pick. That's a national championship, and then possibly a Heisman Trophy. I think all 3 of those things are laying in the cards for Darian Mensah. I mean, he has the team, he has the weapons, he has the defense, he has the schedule, and he has a great coach in Mario Cristobal and Shannon Dawson going to dial things up. So, like I say, I just can't wait to see this offense on the field. I think they're going to be the most explosive offense in the nation. Them and Oregon going to be 1 and 2. So, I understand, though, what Zach Herbstreit was coming from. And anytime, you out of school like Duke, people want to see it. And they want to see could he handle that pressure. And then that first string game, he showed up and showed out. So he put everybody mind at ease. We have a leader that potentially can win us a national championship. Well, to the next time, Dynasty Reaction Network. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and pretty please leave all comments below. And if you already don't know, it's all about the youth. What to do, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Reaction. I'm your host, Hurricane Mike, and today we headed back to the practice field on the defensive side of the ball. Yep, we got Canes Insight. They got a good clip for us. We're going to watch it, and then I'll be back with my commentary. Let's do it. I'm got a snap. I took a lot of big things from the game this year under second-year coach Terry Leatherman and Hall of Famer Jason Taylor leading the defensive line. I know we lost a lot. Ruben Bain Jr. and the key member of, and I believe Coach Cristobal has recruited enough depth to replace those guys. And the second year in this system, Coach Leatherman going to have these guys flying all over the field. Feel like he's just doing some forming drills right now. He's been like linebacker.
Lucas from Wisconsin. We're going to switch over to the defensive backs. I believe that's DeMario Brown, another kid who I expect to have a good impact for the Hurricanes. Right now, just doing ball placement drills. O'Connor, I expect a big improvement from him this year. Man, coming freshman. And of course, OJ, who I expect, man, we all ACC, potentially all American, and potentially have his name on NFL draft board. We have that type of elite potential.
Good, right? Go, here we go. Come on. It is.
Yeah, mine is definitely loaded in defensive. A lot of depth. Guys who can play in the NFL. No problem with speed. So, like I said, I expect it's the unsung hero. He'll be the unsung hero of the team. I expect a lot of big things in the second day. A big improvement from the last 2 years. This might be the best secondary coach ball I had at Miami so far. And then coach took the ball on key. Over there with the tight end, Elijah Lockwood. Do I have hefty expectations for a guy who I feel actually has been underutilized so far? A Swiss Army knife, got to play running back, split end, receiver. He can do a lot of things. So I expect Miami to give him the ball, even though there's a lot of weapons on that offensive side of the ball. I think it's very important that Miami utilize Elijah Lockwood. And okay, we're going to stop it right there. I don't know what's going on with the video, but we're going to stop it. And before we get out of here, again, fall camp is open up. And it looked like Coach Cristobal has the team locked and loaded. Like I said, when it comes to the UM defense, especially the secondary, they're not getting a lot of press as far as, such, like I said in other videos, such as the wide receivers. But this secondary will make plays for us. They will be big time for us. And all we got to do is just sit back and watch the show. I believe this will be, like I said in the video, this is Coach Mario Cristobal best secondary he done had so far at Miami. And the depth and like I said, the team speed they have back there at some point will come back and help us win a national championship. Well, to the next time, Dynasty Reaction. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and pretty please leave all comments below so this channel can grow. And always remember, it's always about the you.
Left side kick, and into the hands of Matt Walter. The interception brings it across the 15, the 20, and Reed takes the ball out of exchange, brings it over the 40, 50, down the middle. It's a race, the 30, the 20. Reed is going to score for Miami. The Hurricanes are going to win this game.
Oh my, I don't believe it. That's one of the greatest finishes I've seen in Hurricane history.
St. Pierre's pass ricocheted off Mike Rump's knee into the hands of defensive lineman Matt Walters for the interception. It was at that moment Ed Reed took matters into his own hands.
It's all about the you. It's all about the you. You say it. It's all about the you. It's all about the you. It's all about the you. You say it.
What it do, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Dynasty Reactions, where we talk all things Miami Hurricanes football. And today, we're headed to the throwback machine. We're talking Ed Reed, probably the greatest safety, college or pro. I got a couple of his highlight clips from the University of Miami. We're going to watch them, then I'll be back with my commentary. Let's do it.
2nd and 6 for East Tennessee State. Wells under pressure from Webster to the end zone, and that ball is nearly picked off. A great play by Edward Reed.
After the play fake, he comes down the line and back. You see Webster going inside the block of Brian Edwards and just throws up a prayer to the right side. Actually, the receiver, Lamar Cooper, didn't even realize the ball was thrown his way.
Helton had it blocked by Ed Reed. Nate Brooks is going to score. There it is.
And another great job on special teams. You see right there, number 20, Reed picks the ball right off the kicker's foot, goes right to...
Quick three-step drop, the catch by Plummer at the 50, down the sideline, gets away from one, gets away from back of Canes, and look, Derek Ham fumbled, Edward Reed on the hit, Michael Barrow has the recovery, and the Canes will have it 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line.
Great block on the outside by Bonner, number 3. Then you see, watch this move by Plummer on the sidelines. He has 5 Hurricanes coming at him. He puts the brakes on, cuts it down the field, good downfield blocking. Watch the hit from the backside right here from number 20, Reed. After a couple bounces, number 93, Michael Barrow, the junior, picks it up in a big turnover by this Hurricane defense.
It's locked. Of the shotgun. Stepping up in the pocket, over the middle, intercepted by Edward Reed. Edward Reed to the 30. Edward Reed is dropped down by Brian Ewell at the 28-yard line. That is the first collegiate interception for Edward Reed, the freshman, the redshirt freshman out of St. Rose, Louisiana.
He get as many yards by running the football, but as you can see right there, a terrific break by Edward Reed. He knew the ball was coming to number 4, Plummer, all the way, stepped in front for a Hurricane turnover.
From the I formation. Clark's in trouble. Clark is down at the 5-yard line.
Post set look. McMahon flush. Hangs in, throw, should have been picked off. And might have been 6 to Edward Reed. 3rd and 4 of the power eye. 2 tight ends. McMahon. Sets, throws in the end zone. Got a man down there, tipped away. That means there's a reverse. Additional control. He's got a man wide open down the sidelines. Jermaine Robinson. For the Scarlet Knights. And the one thing about this pass, too much airtime. And when you've got a guy like Ed Reed, guy that's a member of the track team, one of the stars of the day, in motion, brought from the tight end in the corner, broken out well deeper to the top of the formation. Pitch to Scouts, got away from Webster, and down inside the loose football, and Hurricanes signal that they have it.
Webster coming off the legs of the running back, and it looked like Reed, Edward Reed's right leg, as he was going to make the tackle, gets the ball loose, yards the ball loose from Raymond Skaggs, the running back. You can take a look right here. His right leg kicks the ball out, and somewhere on the bottom of that pile, number 51, Rod Mack, comes up with the football.
Getting the hole, and then Edward Reed top on chain. Motion. Bulger fakes to zero away. Bulger with time. Right intercepted by Edward Reed. Edward Reed running it back to the 40, to midfield. Reed still on his feet, and finally zero away drags him down at the West Virginia 42-yard line.
Play action, it's not there because of Mike Rump. He's late going to the middle of the field. You cannot throw the football down the middle late because the safeties are looking at the quarterback. That time, Edward Reed breaks on Bulger's pass and did a terrific job of coming up.
In the fullback in motion. They're going to fake to zero away. Miami on the blitz, and down goes Bulger. Wilkinson in motion. Pitch back goes Stacey Mack. Around the corner, he is stopped at the Miami 48-yard line. Off of the eyeball. DeVito on the pitch. Stacey Mack. Bingo. Lytle, straight drop. Down the middle, incomplete. Intended for Juan Williams.
Football field right there. He was wide open to dump the football off. Instead, Lytle tries to force it down the field with a lot of green jerseys.
Blitz coming from Morgan. Lytle's pass, again, nearly intercepted. Edward Reed had the coverage. Fell in motion. McNown with the screen set up. Foster makes the catch. Edward Reed chasing him down, and Edward Reed will drop him for about a yard loss.
Watch the pursuit. And number 20 out of the bottom of your screen, he sees the lineman set up. And he says, I'm the last guy back here that can stop this screen. Great read of the screen on Deshaun Foster by number 20.
Out of the shotgun. Stepping up in the pocket. Wide open, complete to Melsby. And Melsby down at the Miami 25-yard line. Edward
That
Reed
ball came out. The Miami ball.
1986. And it's knocked down by Edward Reed.
Taking a great angle to the running back, but here's a picture-perfect tackle right there in the open field. Brings him down, shoulders on the thigh.
The pitch out to Spikes. Great tackle from Edward Reed.
As Beardy just forces the issue. The linebacker slow. They make Spikes turn the ball up, but Edward Reed, the strong safety, right there on the thighs, flips over the running back, Rashawn Spikes. He's got nowhere to go. Great positioning by the strong safety Reed of getting
that Rams, and you just have to wonder. And down goes Muckerman.
Edward Reed from the left side. Look at this hole. Keller, too late coming over trying to pick him up.
Yeah, one thing I remember about fellows throwing a javelin in Louisiana, I remember when I was working with Taylor and Bradshaw right after he came out. Bradshaw was a heck of a javelin thrower, but unlike Bradshaw, Reed's not quarterback. He's defensive back.
Okay, we're going to stop it right there, man. Great video about the great Ed Reed. Hopefully let y'all, some of your people who didn't get the chance to see him play, see some of his highlights. And I'll put down some of his accolades and his milestones. And it says his career interceptions, 21 all-time Miami school record. Interception return yards, 389 school and Big East record. All-American honors, two-time consensus first team All-American 2000 and 2001. Conference awards, Big East Defensive Co-Player of the Year 2001. Hall of Fame induction, college football Hall of Fame and 2018 and Pro Football Hall of Fame 2019. And man, there's not much you can say about maybe the greatest safety of all time, college and pro, Ed Reed. Man, it was a delight to watch this man for 3 years. I think for 4 years down in Miami, so many memorable moments, so many big plays. He's a guy who definitely, when Miami was down, he was one of those recruits that Butch Davis brought in and helped revitalize the program. He was an instant impact. The moment he stepped on the field as a freshman, he started all 4 years, was there. And again, like I say, man, it was a true honor to watch Ed Reed, a true Hurricane Warrior, a guy who brung it all the time, and he deserves everything that he ended up getting, which is the College Football Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He definitely deserves it. I mean, if you even talk on the pro level, I would say he's probably the greatest safety of all time. So, man, that's an amazing accomplishment for people to say you're the greatest safety, college and pro. But I would definitely give Ed Reed that honor. A guy who brung it, like I say, he brung it each and every Saturday. A guy who made a name for himself at the Miami before he became a legendary Raven. He was a legendary Hurricane first. But hey, that's just my opinion. Well, to the next time. Dynasty Network reactions. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and pretty please leave all comments below. And always remember, it's always about the you.
Man, Molly was him. Inconsistent Costa. That's his name. Inconsistent Costa. Jones. Jones.
33-yard line. 3 wide out to the bottom of the picture. Spread the defense to Colorado. Costa checks off, gives the ball.
Stuff that. They stuffed that one.
Larry Jones, the single back, 3 wide out. That's the is hit by Barry of Holland. That would really be in trouble with that because there is nobody behind Lewis. Steps away from the front here. They can't get away from Holland. There it is, Holland.
I swear, man, this year he could have won the national championship. We had inconsistent Costa. Charles Jones. He was good. He was good. Him and Westbrook, they had a mean little talent. Charles Jones on one side, Westbrook on the other side. Yeah, they were mean. But they'll. Lewis.
Second down and 6.
Come on. Look at Sapp in the middle. No, come here. Guess who? Guess who? Guess who? Punt that thing. Yeah. What are you gonna do with it? Huh? Now, I swear we had better quarterbacking this year, man. The damage we could have had done. Costa was just so inconsistent. See what I mean, man? He just. Oh.
Johnson does the smart thing in the first 3 quarters to get this defense from Miami. John Salam in the backfield comes in motion to the near side, and Cordell Stewart throws.
All over that. All over that.
He just makes sure he gets there. You have Hill now lining up with
Rashawn Salam. Heisman Trophy winner.
He does move the ball.
Sapp and Lewis on the tackle.
Is the single back for Colorado. Stewart keeps it, gets the pass away.
Come up. Right now, this looks like this is Colorado best drive so far of the game. Especially now they done put in Rashawn Salam. You can see he done put some more speed and tempo to the offense.
Is incomplete. Intended for Charles Johnson in about 6 weeks. Stewart hands the ball.
People flipping out there. Goals close so fast against this UM defense. You got a linebacker like Ray Lewis. You better get through that hole because he coming. Come here. Come here. Too much speed out there, boy.
It'll be a 53.
Too much speed, Cordell. You ain't out running now.
Duke Hogan will hold it.
You ain't out running now. Nope. Nailed it. They finally strike. All right. Man, this video, look at this. You can tell this is an old video. It's starting to fade. 1993. Ooh, 30-something years ago. 33 years ago.
It was a 3-ball game, and Booker will have none of it. He almost kicked that thing into the stand. Ruth is going. John Ruth is now with the Marlins. On first down, Costa has some time. Ellison Swinson gets the first down at the 31-yard line.
Good wide receiver. Good wide receiver. Just a shitty quarterback. Jones.
And picks up about 3 yards. Second down and 4. Up the middle goes Bennett.
Bennett.
Gives the ball to Bennett.
Bennett.
First down and then some. As Donnell gets across the
I mean, really, this is the best thing we had going for us. Don't get me wrong, Costa, he had his moments, but you know, when you got a trio like Ferguson, Bennett, and Jones, man, just turn around and hand in the ball.
Throws it away.
That's another thing I ain't like about Costa. He had no athletic ability. Just straight up and down, straight drop back quarterback. Can't get out of harm's way. Good throw.
Close. Ben's on the mark, and they're going to mark him short.
Good throw. 4th and 1.